Today, I want to share something that I learned from a teenage client of mine. Okay, he was a 17-year-old boy, and I was speaking to him, and he asked me what I think of feminism. So I asked him what he thinks of feminism, and we had a very nice discussion. Okay, so one thing he said, like I was asking him, like, why do you think that boys your age and young men have so much of an issue with feminism? And he was just, he was telling me about how they grow up in a certain way, and then like girls hurt their feelings, and then they start thinking in other ways. A lot of things he said. Now, one thing that he said is, I think one reason that a lot of my friends, like his friends, have an issue with feminism is because they just don't want to be wrong. And I asked, what do you mean? So he said, you know how feminists are always talking about, like, all men are bad, all boys are bad, boys do this, boys do that, like this, like that. So whenever like when we go onto social media, it's always like girls saying that boys are like this. So it's always showing boys to be wrong. So that is why many of us, we don't like feminism. I said, okay. And then we had a very nice discussion around all of that. So anyway, so the thing that I want to talk about is this fear of being wrong. And I feel like it really comes from the way we parent kids. Because in our culture, mistakes are punished very harshly. Okay, mistakes, you either get like the proper belt treatment, chappal treatment, you get beaten up, or you get punished by like silent treatment, or you get ostracized. If you make a mistake, you're afraid your friends won't talk to you, you're afraid your mother is going to cold shoulder you, you're afraid your father will never speak to you again, things like that. So they may seem like small things, but to a child, to someone whose brain has not fully developed yet, to someone whose entire existence depends on their parent and on their relationships with other people, that can feel like an even bigger punishment than getting beaten up, right? So we live in a culture where mistakes are always punished in that way, and so children grow up with this idea that they always have to be right, that being wrong is shameful, that making a mistake will be punished very harshly, so you have to do anything and everything to avoid making mistakes. So then as they grow up and as they start like affiliating themselves with certain groups, certain communities, certain religious identities, whatever, when they start feeling like they belong to these certain groups, then their entire identity, their entire self-concept starts revolving around believing the right things or doing the right things to be able to fit in with that group. So then when somebody starts calling them out, when somebody starts saying that something you did is not right, or some belief you have is not right, or whatever, when somebody says you did something wrong or you are wrong, it feels like an attack. Because you've learned as a child, as a very young child, that being wrong means being ostracized, being punished, being humiliated, being abandoned, etc. But then let's say you grew up with parents who celebrate mistakes, who have no trouble apologizing when they make a mistake, who whenever you make a mistake, they treat you with a lot of compassion and they gently explain to you what went wrong and how you can make it better. Every time you make a mistake, they try to assure you, they try to make you understand that there is nothing wrong with you, it's just that what you did is not right in that social context or in with that moral or ethical framework. If your parents are able to treat mistakes like opportunities for growth and opportunities for understanding, then this fear will not be there, that if you're wrong, then something bad is going to happen. Such kids, when they grow up, they become a lot more resilient and a lot more resistant to criticism. When they face criticism, they're able to think like, okay, fine, like I'm a good person, but something happened, something I did was not right, so now I just have to take accountability, I have to apologize, I have to make it right, and I can move on. That's all. A mistake simply means that you have to take accountability and make it right. That's it. But for somebody who grew up believing that being wrong is like a huge problem, those are the people who become more defensive, right? But that is so sad, because being wrong is amazing. Being wrong is the beginning of freedom. when you're wrong and somebody corrects you, you gain more understanding about yourself, you gain more awareness about the world, you correct beliefs that were false, you understand something else that you might have overlooked, that you might not be aware of so far. It is like, you get to open your eyes to possibilities that you weren't even aware of till that point. So if you grew up with parents and with a community that celebrates mistakes, that is how you are able to see mistakes. But if you grew up with a community that punishes mistakes very harshly, then you focus more on being right rather than doing good. So this is to all the parents out there, all the parents to be. When your child messes up, yes, you need to teach them the skills they need to do better next time. You need to explain to them why that behavior was wrong, why what they did was problematic. Yes, all of that is there. You have to make them take accountability. You have to allow them to, take the consequences of whatever they did. But do not emotionally abandon them. Don't give them the silent treatment. Don't cold shoulder them. Don't hit them. And make sure that nobody bullies them for small mistakes. Because then, if you can raise children like that, they'll be more focused on just doing good things, connecting with people, making memories, being happy, being peaceful, being joyful, exploring things. They will focus on being whole, complete human beings. They won't focus so much on being right. And if they don't focus so much on being right, then they can keep growing, they can keep evolving throughout their lives. When rightness becomes more important than doing good, that is when we get a society where so much hate, so much betrayal, so much problems are there. It's just that people are so attached to the idea of being right that they don't even want to think that something might be wrong in what they believe or what they do.